We're here at the Triumph Factory Visitor Experience, where we've hosted our coverage for the last 8 weeks and where you can see perhaps the most important collection of Triumph motorcycles on display anywhere in the world. It's actually Triumph's global HQ and you can see it all for yourself. It's open every Wednesday to Sunday from 10 till 4:30 p.m. Here at the Triumph Factory Visitor Experience, there are tons of classic bikes that form part of Triumph's rich and illustrious history, starting with this one of the very first, aptly named the number one. This first went on sale in 1902, and you can see it's basically a bicycle. It's actually when Triumph cycles became Triumph motorcycles, because they wedged this onto the bottom, a 1 3/4 horsepower engine with leather belt drive. But you see, it's actually dual drive, because when this engine couldn't quite get you up the hills, you had to join in with your pedals. And next up, this is the bike that made Triumph a real major player. This is the Model H, better known as the trusty Triumph. This, in World War I, was the dispatch rider's dream. Its leather belt meant that it could cope with all the mud in the trenches, and it won itself legions of fans during the war, and they went and bought them after the war itself. And this is arguably one of the most famous motorcycles of all time. It's the T120 Bonneville from 1959, named after the land speed record set at the Bonneville Salt Flats in 1956. It's called the T120 because it's supposed to get up to 120 miles an hour, and as you will well know, Triumph still make the Bonnie to this day. And finally, you may have seen in the background of some of our BT Sports coverage, some of the race-winning Daytonas that are on display here, including the bike that gave the Daytona its name. This is the winner of the 1966 Daytona, perhaps the most famous Daytona win of all time, at the hands of Buddy Elmore, winning from the back of the grid. And we've got the bikes going through history up to the 675s that have been so successful on the Isle of Man TT over recent years for the likes of Gary Johnson and Peter Hickman.